This is the reason why the Arab nations have not applied any pressure or seemingly any pressure towards Israel in the conflict right now. They will put out this forward-facing support for the Palestinian people, but they ain't ready to bang. And I think it's because they're like, listen, we do not want terrorism in this region. We want investment. We want people coming here for vacations. We don't want this area to be synonymous with danger, murder, and killing. We want this shit settled. So Israel, on the low, I think they're basically like, Israel, go in there, get fucking Hamas out of there, handle all that shit right here so this thing can be squashed and everybody can kind of pour in with the dollars. Because I think they tasted it. They tasted what it's like when you're the belle of the ball. And in Europe, people are going down to the Emirates. They're going down. Now Saudi with these fucking events is looking incredible. There's all these new fights that are already scheduled. You have F1 races. They're like, listen, we can't be thought of as this disgusting terror area of the world. And that will happen if there's ongoing conflict. Handle it.
Yeah.
And if they backed Palestine, this is going to go on forever. So I think they're basically going, hey, how quickly can we knock this shit out because we want to get back to business?
We got to get Steve Harvey over here immediately. Steve Harvey loves Abu Dhabi.
There we go.
And if it's good enough for Steve Harvey, it's good enough for me.
And you know who doesn't care about that? Iran. And you know who's not going to Iran? Americans ain't going to Iran. I don't know how many Europeans are going to Iran. I don't know. But they're the ones who don't benefit from that tourism, don't benefit from the Western dollars. Not even just Western dollars, shit, Eastern dollars. Everybody going there for vacation, et cetera. They have no benefit. So they're like, oh yeah, let's fuck this up. Y'all against us? Let's keep fucking it up. Maybe even Russia comes in as well. But the other countries there who have tasted the limelight, tasted the enjoyment,
they don't want
tasted that capitalism.
Okay. I see what you're
I
saying.
can see it.
I think they're like, hey, shut this down as quick as possible. Let's get back to business as usual.
I think long term they see the ability, the potential to become a superpower on like a global stage. Like we're a force. We got the money. We got people that'll do it. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know if they have the numbers to be superpower, but I think that they could be an economic destination and a cultural destination and a place where, in a hub for entertainment, vacation, business, and culture. And it's like, that can't happen if people are scared to come here because they're worried that they're going to get a fucking bomb explode in a mailbox and they're going to die, or they're worried that somebody's going to chuck a rock at their wife for walking around in a skirt. So we need to make this shit feel very cool, calm, and enjoyable for the West because they tasted the dollars of the West.
Question. Have they run out of oil or they're running out of oil?
Depends on whom.
If we're talking about Saudi Arabia.
No, they have oil for...
What if we're talking about Abu Dhabi?
Abu Dhabi still has oil and natural gas, I believe.
Are they running out of oil?
Dubai has none left.
Dubai.
Dubai is so now invested in tourism.
So how long can they keep overpaying before they run out?
I think some countries, I heard this about Qatar. They understood that their oil was drying up.
Yeah.
So they had like some firm or hedge fund or whatever, take the money we're making now and start investing it. And they invested in a ton of, apparently they own like a crazy amount of the skyscrapers in London or something like that. So we're running out of oil money, but we're not running out of money.
They're diverse.
We're running out of oil, but our money has been
like
invested into other things.
Like, don't they own, who owns Qatar?
PSG.
Paris Saint-Germain. Like, they've invested in these incredibly lucrative businesses, so they're still generating wealth and revenue. But another part of that would be creating a tourism destination.
Yeah.
And it's been quite effective. And that's the idea of like sports washing or whatever the fuck you want to
I'm
go.
just wondering how long can they keep overpaying? Because like sports washing is overpaying. It's overpaying. Like they're not making their money back. They're just trying to.
It's a PR move.
Yeah, it's a big PR move. So it's like, how long can they sustain that before people
define overpaying? This is a tricky thing here because if the state owns the operation, they don't care about profiting on it, right? They don't need to, because they're not, like Bob Arum or Don King has to profit because that's how they pay their bills, that's how they pay their staff, that's how they pay everything. If they just break even on a fight, right? That's just their, whatever it is. Think about all the money that is coming in from hotels, all the money that can come in for potential, not only sponsorships, activities, like people have to eat while they're there, right? They're going to go.
I don't even think they're breaking even on
No,
this
but it's
stuff.
like a loss leader. Like, you know how Walmart would sell toys for less than what they paid for them? Because you know when you come to Walmart, you're not just buying
groceries,
toys, you're buying
buying
groceries. We're making our money elsewhere. So they have enough money to keep taking. $50 million for a fighter or whatever, we have of trillions of dollars.
How about
I'm
this?
just saying, how long can they keep doing that? Because
well, how
every
about-
place
yeah.
else can't do that.
Yeah, I think-
because they're
Because other places aren't invested in people looking at that as a possible tourist destination. So, for example,
in every place.
well, no,
America don't need it.
Like America, like for example, America isn't investing in this fight so people come to America because people are already going to come to America. But we need to believe that Saudi is a place to even go.
So according to this Google search, like UAE has proven reserves equivalent to 299 times its annual consumption, meaning without net exports, there will be 299 years of oil left.
But that's all of the UAE, and I think that's like oil and natural gas. Like I think there's some parts that still have natural gas, and then some part like Abu Dhabi is where like the real money is in.
I was just wondering how long can they continue operating this way just to get people like to change the vision in people's minds where it's like, oh, you know what, it is safe to go.
How about look at it like this? How much
People who go to Disney World will go.
Think about it like this. How much does I don't know. Who cares? Think about it like this. How much does Tesla pay in advertising and commercials? Zero. Elon is their advertiser. Maybe Saudi isn't putting out some crazy promotional campaign of come to Saudi Arabia and spending $10 million or $20 million across all these different, not even social media networks, TV studios, all this other shit. And maybe they've gone, all right, instead of spending $50 million that way, why don't we just spend $50 million on the biggest fight? We'll pay double, but we'll have all the eyeballs on what Saudi Arabia is, and we'll get maybe even more benefit because people are actually interested to come here and see what's going on.
Yeah.
So maybe they're overpaying, but at the same time, they might be paying the same amount than they would pay to advertise in a more traditional manner for people to come to their country. Like, think about how stupid the commercials are. Come to, like, whatever, name a fucking place. Exactly. It's like, that doesn't work. You know what works? Showing me that they get the biggest fucking fight. I start going, ooh, that might be a place to hit up.
You talked about that show. What's the
Oh, the Real Housewives got all the girls want to go. Shit, if you don't think they paid single old bitches in New York show, what's that called?
Sex
in the City, to do the second movie in, where did they go for?
Wow,
they went to one Middle Eastern country for the second movie. Like,
No, they paid crazy. That
you don't think that
sports-washing
they
shit
paid
works.
them shit? Hey, they said, hey, make the whole thing about here. Here's a check. Pay them whatever the fuck you want. We don't give a fuck. And then you have the foremost influential old white bitches that influence all the other old white bitches and younger white bitches. Now they're gonna go out there.
I just feel like it takes a long time to undo all of the negative press America has put on
That region.
that
I
region.
think 10
So
years
it's
max.
like, yeah.
I think
maybe.
10 years max before we're like, you know what? It looks kind of lit though.
Yeah, maybe.
No, I think
it
that's a
takes
good point.
longer.
It's like, how much money do they have to spend to convince us it's okay?
Yeah.
For example, like when Taco Bell has like all them rats eating the tacos while the place is closed, you take a week off Taco Bell, you're like, ew, what the fuck is going on with Taco Bell? You know what I mean? But then they put out the new Gordita Crunch and you're like, rats don't fuck with that. You know? And so like they have to, again, basically dig themselves out of that hole.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering which one comes first. Like
they're going for
them
it.
I
convincing
don't
people
think.
or they
I think
get,
they have way more money than time it's going to take.
Oh, okay.
I think we're already kind of looking at it. We're not fully being like, that looks lit, but we're like,
I think the tricky thing happens
looks
when-
interesting.
This is what I think the tricky thing happens. When the places that have built up these tourist destinations that haven't wrapped the tourism around culture, they've just wrapped it around, hey, look at this crazy building, or look at this fucking arcade, or look whatever. Those can't offer anything when a newer, fancier tourist destination comes out. Italy's not going anywhere. Greece is not going anywhere. Mexico's not going anywhere because they offer thousands of years
History.
of history and culture. So if Saudi is smart, they'll look at the mistakes that have been made and the successes that have been made in the region and go, okay, this is what we have to avoid and this is what we have to lean into. If I'm Saudi, or if I'm any of them, I'm wrapping it around culture. Everything has to be culture.
Hard to do that a little bit.
But keep this good. You have a good
Like
point.
they do it with the, hey, you can dress up, wear the headscarves, and take your pictures, be on a fucking camel and shit like that. But at the same time, it's like, hey, women can't do this, or you can't do that, or you're oppressed in this way. It's like, it's hard to really wrap it around the culture.
You gotta get people addicted to the commerce. And once they've become accustomed to their new life, they do not want to sacrifice it. And then once they don't want to sacrifice it, they're willing to make the changes to continue this new life. And that is the game. So the first thing is get people addicted to the money and the success and driving the nice cars and eating at the fanciest restaurants and all your favorite athletes coming over. And then if they feel that dip even a little bit, you go, well, people don't want to come here because women can't drive. They feel a little bit. Then they're like, well, let these bitches drive. Don't affect my money. Let them drive.
There's also maybe elements of the culture we don't even know about. Like, what if they told you, like, hey, we have pyramids in Saudi Arabia? You'd be like, I have no idea.
Yeah,
I have no idea what's over there. But this is like an ancient country that has generations of culture that we might not know about because they haven't pushed the cultural elements. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Iraq, obviously,
you got to show us.
It's tragic, obviously, what has happened to Iraq, and we're responsible for that as America. But there is so much history in Iraq. Like, this is the birthplace of like civilization. Like, imagine you could wrap that into the tourism, like going to see these fucking ancient relics, the ones that are still there. Like, you're like, holy shit, you're doing Rome again. You're doing Greece again. It's in the Middle East. Like, to me, that's exciting. Like, let's go. I want to see it. And wrap everything around it. You can do the fancy new technological stuff. Just give me a little feeling of the old stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah, that was my only issue with Dubai. It's like, it just felt like consumerism for consumerism's sake.
And they're the first ones.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, how do we do this?
Yeah.
That I feel doesn't last.
It doesn't last when a new thing pops up. And I think that's what Saudi is going. They're going, hey, the Emiratis and the Saudis are friends and everybody's cool and shit, but the Saudis are still going, okay. So they dumped a bunch of money into this and they made this like technological hub, and it's been amazing and successful, and it's a tourism destination and people want to see all this amazing fancy stuff. But we can also do that. How else can we change it? How else can we improve it? And I think if I'm the Emirates or if I'm Saudi, I'm making a week of programming that you cannot miss if you're part of like the jet setter crew. The jet setter crew often like dictates culture. Like in New York, for example, the end of summer, it's Labor Day, people are in the Hamptons. Immediately, there's the US Open, Labor Day, and then New York Fashion Week, all within like 2.5 weeks. If you're like a wealthy person, you're parking yourself here for at least a week of that. Now, if you're not one of those super rich people, but you're one of us, you're like, oh, dude, I want to go to some Fashion Week parties. Or, oh, dude, what's going on for Labor Day? Oh, US Open? It'd be sick to go check out US Open. You might try to do one of those things. How can you make 1 week of events?
So imagine there's a UFC fight, F1, and then there might be some cultural, like historical thing in the region. You're like, yo, I can hit all this shit in 2 weeks.
Now, I'm not saying this is it, but like UFC fight, Andrew Schulz show is a weekend. Now, if I'm some guy in England, I go, bro, I'd go to Dubai for the fucking weekend. I get to watch the UFC fight in Abu Dhabi, then Schulz the next night. Like, what's a week of that?
Yeah. Saudi Arabia Fashion Week. That's what they gotta do.
Wrap it up!
Run it up, dude.
But then so it's like, okay, here's an F1 race. Then there's a UFC fight. Then there's another thing. And now the four of us are sitting here going, bro, don't you want to watch Izzy fight?
Yeah.
Yo, Izzy's fighting. And then we could also watch the F1 shit. Why don't we just go there for the week? The girls can go shopping over here. We just go party.
Yeah.
They got to get the girls, bro.
Well,
That's
the game.
Focusing on the guys, they got to get the women.
Because the
The
guys-
Russians got that on lockdown.
Son, the women.
Bro.
so they're flying. Go.
So like I thought there were like freelance pros out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I thought they were just like running their own thing. Apparently it's like, this is told to me, allegedly, like Russian mafia.
He is tiptoe, man.
Russian mafia. I don't want to get killed by some Russians. Come on, I can't do
your
these
thing,
scary
do your
whites.
thing.
But basically, like these Russian like mafia people, like oligarchs, basically, are flying in private jets full of dimes, and then they just drop them off free range. And then if you go chat with them, they're like, "Oh yeah, like let's meet up later. Like here's my number." And then you meet up, and then there's a guy there that's like, "All right, here's what the deal is." And you can either leave or you can stay, but you got to pay either way.
I was saying to get that shit going, you have to bring the attractions that get the girls going.
Well, that's the beauty
Because I think girls drive, the girls are gonna be there. That's when
this is the beauty of Fashion Week.
Yeah.
The girls all want to be at the fashion events, and no girl's going to turn down the opportunity to even go to a thing. And if you're a young hot chick, you want to be invited to all the fashion events. So if you build cultural tent poles around these events that women really want to be at,
What do chicks
That's the
like?
thing they haven't been doing.
What do girls like, bro?
And like,
Well, how
Instagram pictures.
how can you do
So, what's the shit in Miami that's about to happen?
Basil?
Art Basel.
So,
Oh God.
Things where you can take pictures.
But here's the
Things
thing
where
that's
girls
tricky.
like.
How exactly can you do a fashion show in a place that preaches modesty for the women? So if there's going to be this fashion show where you're going to have cleavage out, you're
That's
going
why
to
I think that I don't know how much
so
that will last.
you have to find another way. What is another thing that these beautiful women want to be at?
What do beautiful women like, dude?
Car shit.
Yeah, that'll do it.
That's what we need, bro. Now we're
That's why
talking.
New York is popping right now. I'm here at the Flagrant Studios.
I walked down the hall with this guy, son. It's crazy. It's crazy.
But what is it? That's a good question. Like, how can they? I mean, F1, I think women like, but I think they don't like the race. They just like that it is a form of luxury.
Yeah.
It's like a yacht week or
And
something
it's
like
not
that.
women going. It's the women on the arms of a guy. who's
Exactly.
going.
Yeah. Whereas fashion, it's like chicks will go if we going or not.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is the move?
What do girls like? Money? Girls like money? You do that?
I think you can
Scavenger
tie it
hunt?
around fashion and like dressing up like Kentucky Derby shit. What's the Derby Day or whatever, where girls get to wear them fucking hats and all that. That's
It's
again
usually that type of
Instagram
stuff.
moment.
Yeah.
That's conservative.
Yeah.
The only problem is their conservative dressing for women isn't as fashion forward.
Look like a mummy.
It's all haram, bro.
Exactly.
Everything girls like is haram. What's up with that?
Yo, low key. That's
What's
why
up
they
with
have
that,
to
dude?
do it. Because they know what they like. And they gotta stifle them desires, bro. It
It's
was hard to
haram,
say. It wasn't
bro.
always like that.
Yeah.
Wasn't always like that.
Maybe